What is a verb? A verb describes an action, state of being, or occurrence that happens externally or internally. They indicate the physical actions or feelings of the subject of the sentence. Every complete sentence needs at least one verb. The tense of a verb identifies when the action it describes takes place. Past tense verbs tell about actions that have already taken place. Past tense verbs have different tenses that tell more information about when exactly something happened. They can be in simple past, past perfect, past progressive, or past perfect progressive tense. Present tense verbs describe actions that are taking place right now. Like past tense verbs, present tense verbs can be in simple present, present perfect, present progressive, or present perfect progressive tenses. Future tense verbs tell that an action will happen. Again, future tense verbs have different tenses: simple future, future perfect, future progressive, and future perfect progressive. Verbs fall into one of several categories depending on their use. Transitive verbs require a direct object. For example, Alicia played the piano. Intransitive verbs do not include a direct object. For example, Stephanie worked all night. Ditransitive verbs can use a subject, an indirect object, and a direct object, but the direct object is not always required, depending on the sentence. In the example, Sam gave Paula the newspaper, the direct object is the newspaper, and the indirect object is Paula. Ambitransitive verbs can be either transitive or intransitive. For example, the sentence, "He already ate," uses the intransitive verb ate. There is no direct object, but if you add a direct object, a cookie, after the verb, the sentence still works. Regular verbs have past tense forms that end in ed, d, or sometimes t, like walked, pushed, and slept. Irregular verbs do not end with ed or d in the past tense. For example, present tense bring turns into past tense brought. There are 6 different types of verbs: action, auxiliary, modal, linking, stative, and phrasal. Action verbs, also known as dynamic verbs, describe an action. These are verbs like jump and swim. Auxiliary verbs are the helping verbs, to be, to have, and to do. They are coupled with a main verb to indicate its tense, mood, or voice. In this example, the auxiliary verb is helps the main verb sleeping. Modal verbs are a type of auxiliary verb that indicate concepts like ability, necessity, or permission. These verbs also connect to the main verb. Here, can is the modal verb linked to the main verb go. Linking verbs join the subject of a sentence to a word or phrase that modifies it. In the example, Beth felt horrible, felt is the linking verb between the subject Beth and the word modifying it, horrible. Stative verbs describe a state or situation rather than an action or process. Examples are agree, believe, and remember. Phrasal verbs combine a verb with another word, typically an adverb or preposition, to create a new verb phrase. The new phrase is usually idiomatic, meaning it cannot be defined based on each word. Back down, drop off, and hang on are all phrasal verbs.